In this video, we're going to answer the question, how to retire early? Does the 4% rule really work? And for those of you who don't know me, my name is James Peter, and here at Destiny Influencers, we're all about helping you retire early and retire in comfort. So let's get started. Now, the 4% rule has been a mainstay and a beacon for people who are thinking about retiring for a long time, and it's really quite easy to understand, so let me explain it. Because if you're like most people, you want to make sure before you jump into the retirement thing that you're going to be comfortable, that you're going to have everything you need to maintain a lifestyle that you've really been dreaming about all your working life. So this is what the 4% rule is based on. You take your required living expenses for a year, and let's say we're going to put that just for argument's sake at $60,000, and you divide by 4%. So $60,000 divided by 4% is $1.5 million. So that would mean that you would need a portfolio of $1.5 million to maintain that $60,000 living expenses per year. And again, $60,000, that's just an arbitrary figure. Some people can live very comfortably on that. Others, they're going to need a lot more. Depends on what your lifestyle is. But here's the problem with the 4% rule. Times are really uncertain, and it's not just now. They have been in the past. They probably will be in the future, but this period of time we're living in right now is really uncertain. So the 4% rule, you have to be careful, because there are some things that you have to take into account. For instance, basing your comfort level and your quality of life in retirement on stocks and bonds, maybe over a very long period of time, there's going to be cost averaging, it's going to average out. But let's face it, it's risky and it's stressful. Who wants to spend their retirement years worrying about whether or not they're going to be able to maintain that lifestyle that they've been looking for? I mean, let's face it. If you're anything like me, you've been working hard all your life. You're thinking, all right, retirement sounds good to me. Can I really do it? Can I afford to retire and live the lifestyle that I've been dreaming of for so many years? And we already know that retiring in itself is stressful. You're giving up your guaranteed income. I mean, let's face it. For all intents and purposes, you're quitting your job. And you're probably thinking those normal things, all those things that most of us think when we're heading toward retirement. Am I going to be okay? Is my family going to be okay? Am I going to be able to live that lifestyle that I desire and actually require after working hard all these years on a sustainable basis, year to year, and not stress out about it every year? Some people are asking, can I even afford to retire? And if you've asked yourself any of these questions, leave me a message or a comment in the comments below and let me know some of the questions that you've asked yourself about this whole retirement thing. Some other questions you might ask is, well, is my quality of life going to go down substantially? Is it going to go up? What exactly am I going to be able to afford to do in retirement? Am I just trading a stressful job for a lifetime of worry, want, and lack? Or am I going to be okay? All these things are jumping around inside many people's heads when they start thinking about, can I retire or not? And if you're relying on financial advisors for your advice about retirement, you've got to be wondering, am I getting good advice? Do these guys know what they're talking about? Am I really going to be in as good a shape as they say I am? And all this doubt is totally normal. Let's face it, this is a big decision. And in reality, let's face it, basing your financial security for the rest of your life on stocks and bonds, well, it is risky because the stock market is volatile. And they've actually got a name for these different risks that we're undertaking as we move into retirement. One of those risks is called sequence risk. And I'll explain that to you. It's really pretty easy to understand. Basically, sequence risk says, hey, you really can't anticipate to any certain degree how much your investments are going to grow if they grow at all. There's a risk there. And on top of that, there's the other big unknown. What is your expiration date? I don't know what mine is. How long are you going to live? Doesn't that have a lot to do with whether or not you're going to have enough money in retirement? Technically, we could actually outlive our income. We could outlive our money sources. It's happened to people before. We're living longer with the medical advances that are coming around. Who knows how long you're going to live? And this is the second type of risk, longevity risk. We don't know what our expiration date is. We don't know how long we're going to live. So between sequence risk and longevity risk, this is really kind of a gamble. You put those two risks together, and let's face it, it can seem like a really uncertain financial future. Now, I'm not trying to scare you and make you worry unnecessarily. I mean, let's face it, we want to retire. We've been looking forward to it. As a matter of fact, I'm in a position now where I'm going to be able to retire 3 years earlier than I thought I would, which is great. And I hope that happens for you too. But there's a lot to consider and think about. So what do you do? What do you do to make sure that you have enough money, that you make sure that you have the resources that you really need to live the lifestyle that you want to live in retirement? Well, there's a couple things you can do, and we'll get into that. A 2017 RAND survey found that approximately 40% of all retirees over the age of 65 actually went back to work in some form or another. And there's really two reasons for this. Number one is the obvious. They needed the money. They found that they weren't living and having that type of lifestyle that they thought they would have in retirement, that comfort level, being able to go out to eat when you wanted to go out to eat, being able to travel. If you have children, go and see your children, start new projects. Maybe you're giving to some good causes, charities. They found that they just didn't have enough money to do that, so they went back to work. And the second reason is they got bored. They just got bored. They thought they would enjoy all that free time, and it turned out that, you know what, they needed more activities. So those are the two reasons that people went back to work after they retired. And look, you're going to have to do something after retirement. You can't just lie around. I mean, although, I had these dreams of lying in the hammock underneath that palm tree, I'm only going to be able to do that for so long. So you have to do something in retirement. If you have a lot of hobbies, that's fantastic. You could always take up new hobbies, but you got to do something with your time. And what I decided was that I wanted to do something that kept my brain sharp, but also allowed me to add substantially to my retirement income, to actually supplement my retirement income so that there's no question in my mind whether or not I'm going to be able to live that type of lifestyle that I've dreamed of. I mean, come on, let's face it. We all want to be comfortable in retirement. We all want to feel like, you know what? This is the good life I've dreamt of. And many of us, like myself, we want to retire early. Retiring early is a dream that we've had, that we could walk away from the workforce, that we could start living life on our terms. So this idea of earning secondary income in retirement sounded really good to me. But I didn't want to go back to work. I didn't want to go work for somebody else. I did not want to have to show up at a certain time or place at a certain date. I wanted to have all those freedoms and still be able to earn a substantial income to supplement my retirement income. So how did I handle this problem? How did I handle the unknown of, am I going to have enough in retirement with my portfolios? Is this 4% rule even going to work for me, or am I going to be in trouble? I'll tell you how I did it. I started an online business. I started my own internet business that generates reliable, predictable, consistent income every month. And this internet business that I started is actually allowing me to retire 3 years earlier than I had planned on doing so. Now that's exciting. I only wish I had known about it 10 years ago. And here's the beauty of it. You don't have to know any insane tech stuff. You don't have to invest any large amounts of money to get started. Your age doesn't matter. I'm living proof. And you set your very own schedule. You make your own hours. You work when you want to. You don't work when you don't want to. So if you want to know more about what I'm doing, how I was able to retire 3 years earlier than I had planned, and actually earn more money now than had I stayed to my full retirement age, check out the links below this video. Full disclosure, I'm not promising or guaranteeing that you'll make any money if you start an online business. I simply can't do that. And if you're getting value out of this video, could you do me a favor? Could you like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel? I'd appreciate it. Thanks very much. Well, that's all for now. Wishing you health, wealth, and happiness to you and the ones you love.